What if I told you that modern genetics might prove you are not entirely human? That the DNA flowing through your veins contains fragments from a species that vanished 12,000 years ago? A civilization so advanced that everything we know about ancient Egypt, the Maya, and Mesopotamia is just an echo of their achievements? Deep in the Pacific Ocean, beneath 50 million square miles of water, lies evidence of a continent that predates recorded history. A motherland called Mu. The proof of its existence is carved into stone tablets written in a dead language, standing as 1,000-ton monuments on remote islands and encoded in pyramid structures built across the entire globe following identical mathematical principles. For over a century, mainstream archaeology has dismissed Mu as fantasy, but the evidence keeps surfacing. Stone tablets, impossible statues, ancient texts describing sky gods who created humanity. This is Discovery Journals. Today, we are investigating the lost continent of Mu and what it means if we are descended from something that was not entirely human. The tablets that changed everything. Our story begins in 1926. A British writer named James Churchward published something extraordinary, a 3-volume series titled The Lost Continent of Mu, The Children of Mu, and The Sacred Symbols of Mu. These were not fiction. Churchward claimed they were translations of actual ancient tablets he had discovered 50 years earlier while serving as a soldier in India. Here is what allegedly happened. While serving, Churchward befriended a high-ranking temple priest who during one conversation revealed something he had kept hidden: stone tablets covered in an incomprehensible language called Naga Maya, a dead tongue understood by only 2 people in India at that time. The tablets looked ancient, sunburnt clay shaped to resemble stone, covered in complex symbols arranged in precise patterns. Churchward made a deal. He agreed to learn the language and to preserve and restore the tablets. The priest agreed. What Churchward discovered over the following years would challenge everything archaeologists believed about human origins. According to his translation, the tablets originated from the place where man first appeared, Mu. They did not just mention this lost continent. They detailed its entire history from creation to catastrophic destruction. The story began with Earth's formation and the emergence of the Nakal, the people of Mu, a civilization that flourished between 50,000 and 12,000 years ago. Churchward's description was specific. Mu stretched across the Pacific Ocean from the Marianas to Easter Island, east to west, and from Hawaii to Mangaia, north to south. Larger than South America, it was a continent of 64 million inhabitants divided into 10 tribes, governed by a single government and a unified religion. 7 major cities, vast rivers, massive hills, gorgeous plains, colonies established on every other continent. But here is what made Churchward's claims genuinely shocking. He described Mu as being dominated by a black race that was superior in many respects to our own civilization. This was not just a lost continent. This was the mother civilization, the source from which Egypt, Mesopotamia, and all known ancient cultures descended. Then, 12,000 years ago, catastrophe struck. Churchward wrote that Mu was completely obliterated in almost a single night. Sudden earthquakes and volcanic eruptions tore the continent apart. The broken land fell into that great abyss of fire and sank beneath 50 million square miles of water. Gone. Overnight, taking 64 million people with it. Naturally, skeptics demanded proof. Where were these tablets? Could anyone else examine them? Churchward never produced them for independent verification, and that should have been the end of the story, except that evidence started appearing from unexpected sources. In 1921, renowned mineralogist and archaeologist William Niven made a discovery while excavating in San Miguel Amantla, Mexico. He found over 100 stone tablets buried deep underground, their surfaces covered in text written in an unknown language. Niven could not decipher them, and no linguist he consulted recognized the script. Only one person claimed to read the inscriptions, James Churchward. Churchward examined the Niven tablets and declared them written in a language remarkably similar to the Nagamaya script he had learned from an Indian priest decades earlier. Suddenly, Churchward's story gained external corroboration. If Mexican tablets and Indian tablets used the same language, what did that suggest about a shared ancient origin? The Niven tablets were not the only physical evidence. Across the Pacific, massive stone monuments raised even bigger questions. The impossible statues. Easter Island sits in the Pacific Ocean at coordinates that align perfectly with Churchward's description of MU's eastern boundary. And on that island stand the MOAI, gigantic stone figures that should not exist. Nearly 900 statues were carved from volcanic tuff between 1250 and 1500 AD by the Rapa Nui people. The largest, called Paro, stands 10 meters high and weighs approximately 82 tons. These are not crude monuments. They are engineered with meticulous precision, oversized heads comprising 3/8 of the total height, no legs, and a uniform styling that suggests a template or shared blueprint. When asked about their inspiration, the Rapa Nui people said the moai were built to honor their ancestors. But who were their ancestors, and where did they acquire the knowledge to create monuments requiring advanced engineering? The volcanic tuff came from Rano Raraku, an extinct volcanic crater on the island. That explains the material, but it does not explain the construction technique or the transportation method. Here is the problem. Moving statues that weigh 82 tons across rough terrain without modern equipment should be impossible. Yet the moai stand miles from their quarry site. How did the Rapa Nui move them? According to oral tradition, the statues walked to their locations. Researchers Terry Hunt and Carl Lipo suggest the statues were moved upright in a rocking motion using ropes, a method that technically aligns with the walking description. Others propose the Rapa Nui used log systems to roll the statues, though this would have required massive timber resources. The most controversial explanation is spiritual power. Some traditions claim the moai contain spiritual forces that enabled them to move themselves. Churchward supported this interpretation because it aligned with what he had translated from the tablets. The people of MU were not ordinary humans. They possessed knowledge and abilities far beyond what primitive civilizations should have had. If the Rapa Nui descended from Mu's survivors, they might have preserved fragments of that engineering knowledge, enough to accomplish feats that seem impossible by conventional historical timelines. The pyramid problem. Easter Island isn't the only location pointing toward a lost mother civilization. Consider the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt is aligned with extreme mathematical precision, built using principles that modern engineers struggle to fully understand. The pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico share similar design principles, despite being built thousands of years later by supposedly unconnected civilizations. The Shanxi pyramids in China are older than the Egyptian pyramids, yet they follow identical geometric blueprints. How do completely isolated civilizations, separated by oceans and thousands of years, independently develop the same complex architectural structures using the same mathematical principles? Standard archaeology claims convergent evolution, different cultures independently solving similar problems with similar solutions. But the precision is too exact. The mathematical ratios are too consistent. The astronomical alignments are too deliberate. What if these weren't independent developments? What if pyramid construction was knowledge preserved from a mother civilization, Mu, and carried across the world by its survivors after the continent sank? One theory suggests that as Mu's people scattered, they preserved their civilization's secrets in stone. Tablets like those Churchward discovered, monuments like the moai, And pyramids, structures designed not just as tombs or temples, but as energy hubs built using technology we still don't comprehend. Could pyramids be the last remnants of Mu's advanced knowledge? If so, what technology did this ancient civilization possess? And more importantly, were the Mu people entirely human? The ancient astronaut connection. This is where the evidence gets genuinely strange. If Mu predated all known civilizations and possessed advanced technology, where did that knowledge come from? Enter the ancient astronaut hypothesis. Extraterrestrials visited Earth thousands of years ago and interacted with early humans, influencing our development. This is not baseless speculation. Ancient texts worldwide describe similar encounters. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, celestial beings who descended from heaven to create and guide humanity. The Mayan Popol Vuh describes sky gods who made humans from nothing. The Hindu Vedas detail Vimanas, aircraft piloted by gods. Researchers argue these were not myths, but records of actual contact with beings from outside our planet. If they are correct, could Mu have been their first point of contact? According to the tablets Churchward translated, Mu's people had divine rulers, wise beings with knowledge far beyond what a primitive civilization should possess. Some theories suggest Mu was not home to a purely human civilization, but something more, a hybrid society. If extraterrestrials visited Mu, they may have intervened with humanity directly. Ancient texts repeatedly reference divine beings as the source or modifiers of humanity. This could have occurred through genetic manipulation or breeding between extraterrestrials and early humans. Modern scientists would call such claims controversial, even absurd. But what if this coexistence was controversial even then? So controversial that the entire continent had to be eliminated in a single night. What if Mu's destruction was not a natural disaster, but a deliberate erasure? The geological problem. Here is where mainstream science draws the line. Geologists examined Churchward's claims and reached a definitive conclusion. There is no geological evidence of a sunken continent in the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean floor has been extensively mapped, and there is no evidence of a massive lost landmass beneath the waves. Moreover, plate tectonics, the process by which Earth's crust shifts, makes it impossible for a continent the size Churchward described to suddenly disappear without a trace. Continents do not just sink, especially not ones with 64 million inhabitants and thriving ecosystems. Then there is the tablet problem. Churchward never produced the original Nahal tablets for independent verification. No other researcher confirmed their existence. Without the tablets, the entire Mu narrative rests on unverified claims. Linguists also challenged the idea that Mu influenced Egypt, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica. They argue these civilizations developed languages and architectural principles independently, with no linguistic or genetic evidence linking them to a shared Pacific origin. By every conventional scientific measure, Mu should not exist, except the evidence keeps surfacing. Some researchers propose middle ground theories. What if Mu was not a continent but a misinterpretation of real historical events? The Indonesian landmass theory suggests Mu could reference Sundaland, a vast Southeast Asian region that partially submerged at the end of the last ice age, approximately 12,000 years ago. That timing matches Churchward's description exactly. Others believe Augustus Le Plongeon, the 19th century archaeologist who first popularized Mu after studying Mayan ruins, simply misinterpreted Mayan texts that reference an ancient symbolic place called Mu, rather than a literal continent. And Churchward's cataclysmic destruction could be cultural memory of real disasters, the sinking of Doggerland in Europe, the flooding of Sundaland, or other catastrophic events preserved through oral tradition and transformed into legend over millennia. These alternative explanations suggest Mu might not have been a lost continent, but a synthesis of different real-world events and myths passed down through generations. So where does that leave us? We have stone tablets, the Niven tablets, written in an unknown language that Churchward could allegedly read, corroborating his story about learning a dead script in India. We have the Moai of Easter Island, seemingly impossible monuments built by people who claim descent from ancestors we cannot identify, using techniques we cannot fully explain. We have pyramid structures across the globe following identical mathematical principles, despite being built by supposedly isolated civilizations thousands of years apart. We have ancient texts worldwide describing sky gods, divine beings, and accounts of extraterrestrial contact using remarkably similar narratives. We have oral traditions across cultures describing lost homelands swallowed by the sea. And we have no geological evidence that any of it happened the way Churchward described. But the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. If Mu existed as a Pacific continent housing 64 million people and was destroyed 12,000 years ago, conventional archaeology says we should find remains. But if that civilization was truly advanced, if they possessed technology we do not understand, would we even recognize their artifacts? If they were genetic hybrids between humans and something else, would modern DNA analysis detect signatures we are not looking for? The biggest question is not whether Mu existed. It is whether we are capable of recognizing evidence of a civilization fundamentally different from what our scientific paradigms expect to find. Was Mu the mother civilization of all humanity? Do we carry genes from a hybrid species that disappeared 12,000 years ago? Science lacks definitive answers. The geological evidence says no. The archaeological evidence is ambiguous at best. The tablets have never been independently verified. But the cultural evidence, the monuments, the myths, the mathematical precision of pyramid construction across continents, and the persistent legends of lost homelands suggest something happened that conventional history does not account for. Maybe Mu was real. Maybe it was misinterpreted fragments of multiple disasters woven into a single legend. Maybe it was entirely invented by Churchward based on tablets that never existed. Or maybe, just maybe, there is truth buried beneath the Pacific, waiting for technology advanced enough to find it. What do you think? Was Mu real? Are the Moai remnants of a lost mother civilization? Could we be descended from genetic hybrids created by extraterrestrial intervention 50,000 years ago? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this investigation intrigued you, we have created a free resource exploring why ancient mysteries like Mu matter for understanding human origins. You will find the download link in the description. If you want more investigations into mysteries conventional archaeology cannot explain, subscribe to Discovery Journals. We are examining the evidence mainstream science ignores, because the truth about our past might be stranger than any myth. Thanks for watching. Keep questioning, keep investigating. We will see you in the next investigation.